It's time again for your home for everything CORT. This is the fastest show in sim racing, the CORT Report. This is your one-stop shop for news for the CORT Trading Paints Championship Series. And the CORT National Cup Series. And now, the guys who will bring it all to you. David Amboys.
My brand.
Chris Sweat.
Come on, baby, here we go.
And John Dragonetti.
Bye, have a great time.
Hello and welcome to the CORT Report. And it's exciting because we got a new season. I am your host, David Amboys, and I'm alongside John Dragonetti. And Chris Sweat. No, don't worry. The CORT Report won't just be a bunch of us going for 45 minutes, because we got a lot to get to in this week's edition of the CORT Report. But
45 minutes if we're lucky.
Yeah, if we're lucky. Who knows?
Marathon last week.
Yeah, last week was, I was parched by the end. You got that right. Quickly, just want to say, hey, hope you guys like the new look to the CORT Report. A little bit of a weekly flair to it now. Going to be able to bring you guys a little bit of a window into where we are. And as you can see, it is the Homestead Miami Speedway, because Trading Paints kicked off their season on Monday.
Oh, fancy new graphics.
Praise Jesus.
And speaking of fancy new graphics, we had a fancy new winner in court, as Will Roberts from 20th in the grid came home with the win at Homestead.
He didn't have necessarily the best or the fastest car, but he definitely did in the closing laps when it counted. He led the last 11, and he made it known that, you know, he's for real this season.
It's definitely what's great about this series is even it's our second season, there's still things like this that shock us. Like, I mean, ask anybody, and there's no dig to Will, but did you honestly expect him to be up there in the closing laps? I mean, I kind of honestly didn't. But it's up there, and his car was strong, and he did what he needed to do.
Oh, yeah.
He did. And Will, I even said it on the broadcast when I was asked to come on in after I had been involved in an incident. More on that later. And I said, man, he's a dark horse. To be honest, I didn't really put a lot of faith into Will, I'll be quite honest. But he ended up pulling it out. And he had to hold off Pete Engelmanis. I mean, everyone knows Pete goes hard at the end of these races and was just one or two laps from maybe getting around him, but Pete ran out of time.
Yeah, and that's no easy task in itself, holding Pete off. He's pretty fierce in the late going in any race that we have.
I mean, you look at this and look at the results from here. Pete led 48 laps. That was the most laps led by any driver in this race. The close second was 26 by Tyler Tucker, and it just shows how dominant Pete is and how hard it was for Will to hold him off.
How many laps did he lead?
48.
He was cheating.
Yeah, Pete got the extra bonus point, although it doesn't matter to him since he's not running all the races. Tyler Tucker finished third, and he was doing all right until he got involved in an incident and got some side pod damage.
Yeah, and that really blew his chances at trying to close up in the closing laps. Wow, redundancy. But he was really strong all race. I don't think he faltered out of the top 5 at any point.
He definitely didn't. I mean, Tucker was up there the entire race. He started up there and he ran up there, and it was good to see him have a good run. I know he had a lot of bad luck last season. Just really good to see him just show some power in this first race here, and I'm really hoping it continues.
Hey, John.
What?
16th to 4th. Good run for you. Season opener.
Yeah, it was a rough race. You know, for more reasons than one, but you know, he came out all right. No, I mean it was a rough race. It was rough.
Thomas Morris came home 5th, and we got more on that later as we get to review Chris Sweat's day later on in the CORT Report. Julian Medore came home 6th.
I just realized I was hitting the wrong button. Julian he complained that it was just tough to pass, and that was definitely a true statement. That bottom line really wasn't existent. You really had to work, and I know Julian was working pretty much the entire second to last run to get by, and he faltered a little bit and fell back to 6th, but he was right up front, top 10 for virtually the entire event.
Andrew Hayes' 2013 season looks to be kicking off a lot better than his 2012 season. He came home 7th.
Praise Jesus, hallelujah! Andrew Hayes finished in the top 10, didn't wreck out. This season might be a turnaround.
Oh yeah, with the new number change to the 20, I think, or you would have to think that it would help his psyche a little bit.
Yeah, you absolutely could see that, and there's your number 1. I lasted like 6 minutes into this one. That was pretty good. Mike Husby, after starting 2nd, came home 8th.
Yes.
Congrats, Mike.
Congratulations, Mike Husby. Next
guy on the list, hey, he'll be donning the CORTRacing.com colors in the Daytona 250. More on that later on in the show when we focus on the CORT National Cup Series and their duels. Sean Bretzman came home 9th.
Rookie driver in his first start and gets a top 10. That's pretty competitive.
And definitely, I know Brightsman pretty well. I've raced against Brightsman. He is a hell of a driver, and he's going to be a force to reckon with. Definitely on the national side, but it's a great way to start off a season, your first time in these cars, and he didn't really do anything wrong. He just kind of hung around. He got some damage early on, but he kind of toughed it out and stayed on track and pulled out the top 10.
Finished in the points. Always good to get in the points in the first event of the year. And Alex Boffley came home 10th after spinning his tires on a restart.
Definitely not something we're used to seeing him do, especially in the Trading Paint series. He's coming off that. Well, yeah. No, but coming off his season last year, you wouldn't expect him to do that. But yeah, it was definitely kind of a surprise in the moment when it happened.
You try things. It's first race of the season. You see what you can do, and obviously first gear wasn't the right call. But he battled back, and he was further back than he was. Started off with a great race. Started off on pole, led 16 laps, and it's just a shame that happened.
My whole train of thought on that is, if you think starting in first gear is a bad idea in a stock car, why do it in an Indy car when it's lighter and more susceptible to spin?
Sure star.
So if you start in first gear, you're going to have a bad time.
You're going to have a bad time. Defending champion Eric Mickey had a bad time after wrecking out late in the event. He came home 11th.
I don't want to say this, but could that be that champions or that number 1 curse? I kind of hope not, otherwise that'd really stink.
Dakota Ehrman came home 12th and rounded out the points.
Solid finish for his first, well, not the first, but in a league competition, the first start in an IndyCar, so that's not too much to complain with. He was pretty solid.
He looked pretty solid to me every time I was around him. He once again, it was one of his first times in this car and did what he needed to do and held on.
David Amboys came home 13th, and it was a rough night. We started we had a good start to the night. Just wasn't able to keep it going. Got involved. Julian kind of got loose on the high side and came down into me, and unfortunately I messed up our suspension. We were done for the day, but we'll go at it at Phoenix, and I think we got a good piece for Phoenix.
You didn't do too bad in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, I ended up broadcasting half that race. I want to thank the guys over at TSTV, our great partners, our broadcast partners here at CORT, for letting me jump in the booth and help out Zane up there, and it was a ton of fun. It was great. Anytime I can get back in the broadcast booth, I like, even if it was for a bad reason, and they gave me the invite. Anytime I wreck out, I can jump back up there, so it's all good.
You are the Michael Waltrip, of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I would like to say Carl Edwards. Remember that All-Star race that Carl Edwards wrecked out of?
Yeah, but you don't do backflips.
Yeah, but Or I think I remember, didn't he blow an engine at like Richmond in like '07?
He was also the Loudon nationwide race. I think he went in the booth after he blew up or wrecked or something.
And I remember seeing stock photos of Carl Edwards taking photos, like professional photographer equipment. He just taps whatever his name is from AP and goes, "Hey, let me take some photos." And then he just takes photos because he's Carl Edwards, and why not?
Man of many hats.
Men of many hats. Patrick O'Toole came home 14th.
Silent but solid run. I think he had a little bit of contact with McCorkle midway through the race, which kind of ruined his day. But he was sitting pretty solid there for the the early going.
Patrick is one you kind of gotta watch because you don't really hear about him much, but he ends up being up there when the time comes. When just unfortunate luck this week, but there have been a couple instances where Patrick's kind of snuck up there and you just don't hear about it.
He tends to keep the car in one piece, which is something that a team owner would definitely like to see. Chris Sweat, you came home 15th out of the points. How was your day?
Oh, we had a great car. We qualified 8th, and I was actually really surprised. And we had a solid piece, kept it clean, had a really good strategy going. Last restart, I think it was when Buffoli spun his tires, and it just kind of fell back on there and rode around, and 93 caught me, and that was it. It's just a tough day for the team. We really wanted to get a good finish for our new sponsor, put on the brakes, but some days just not meant to be.
Yep.
That's all I got to say about that right there.
I couldn't think of anything to comment with that wouldn't sound like, are you going to fight him next time?
Not. It's over. And I mean, yeah, I call him an idiot on Twitter, and in the actual race. I was pissed, legitimately. It just sucks, We were running top 5 for a while. We had a really good car and wanted to be there at the end, but it just sometimes just doesn't work out.
Real talk.
My teammate Tim Silliman came home 16th after being involved in an incident.
He was in that same incident with me, and it's unfortunate too because Tim was on that restart. Kind of got Tim too, and we were trying to work our way back up, and Tim was following the 93, and it just happened. Tim might fight him.
Tim might fight him.
He would do it.
He probably would. Love you, Tim. Jake Finch making his season debut, as everyone was, but I believe he's going to try and run the full season for O'Toole Motorsports. He came home 17th.
Can't complain, just trying to get track time, log some laps, and I think he did that pretty solidly.
He ran 32 laps.
You know what I mean.
Yes, I know what you mean. He was caught up in that wreck with Matt Trace and a couple other people. That was an unfortunate kind of just come together accident. But he was in the practices and in the first part of that race, he was smooth.
Yeah, and you know what? He was up there. He was in front of me for most of that first part of the race, and he had a good run going in just tough circumstances. Same with tough circumstances, Matt Trace. Started 7th.
He was never comfortable with the car. Even when he led 7 laps, but during the testing, he just said he never felt comfortable, and I just think it kind of came back to bite him.
Matt Harrington came home 19th. Yeah, I think you can really say the same thing there. I know he's fighting the car pretty much all weekend, and to come off of the last season that as the freaking intern, shut up.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. New look, new intro music,
same intern.
Same interns. Constantly talking. We're doing a radio show, sir. A radio show. Sorry, go ahead.
Throw something at him.
There we go. No, but yes, he was having trouble with the handling all weekend as well, and it was just really tough. But I think he's gonna come into his own. I know he left our team to go to start his own venture, and I hope it pays off.
Yep, like Ford Performance Racing. Had some good runs going until being involved in an incident on the National Cup Series side in his duel too. Joseph Servone carrying the 703 banner. Well, not carrying it. I think Will Roberts did a damn good job of doing that. He came home 20th.
Tupac is dead.
Tupac is dead, yo.
Never mind the racing. We're just going to quote things he says. Cervone's one of those drivers that he finally got it towards the end of practice, and I think he was running pretty solid too. He qualified 19th, which was definitely a respectable time, and just got caught up in that incident.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing what he was going to do in that race, but unfortunately, yeah, kind of got the short end of that stick.
Whoa. Going back to Joseph Cervone, fun fact, he once thought Ric Flair was a goalie for the Calgary Flames.
Woo!
Carson Obe, looking to run the full season, came home 21st.
Decent run.
Didn't really get going, and unfortunately came home 21st, but Phoenix is next week, and hopefully his luck kind of turns then.
If you look right there from 17th to 21st, that was that accident. That was that one wreck there that took out those 5 guys. Or 4 guys, however many guys. I can't do math.
Yeah, Kyle Young had to kind of scrounge together a ride for Monday's race, but was able to make the show, and he unfortunately wasn't in the show for long. He finished 22nd.
It's the effort that counts, right?
Well, he's in the top 25 in points, which is a big deal when we get to Indianapolis. Cody McCorkle, my teammate, involved in an incident with Patrick O'Toole, came home 23rd.
Solid day
For Cody. Andrew Mickey, Eric's, I believe, older brother, came home 24th.
Just another unfortunate early incident for him that kind of kept him out.
He's... Oh, go ahead.
No, you.
Now, I was going to say, he's new, so he's still got a pretty large learning curve ahead of him, but I know he can do it.
Yeah, he's going to... I don't know, I don't want to say he's going to struggle, but Phoenix is a tough track for these CORT Indy cars. Johnny Williams came home 25th. That rounded out the field. If you want the point standings, just look at the results. We're only one race in, and Will Roberts leads the points by 2, I believe, over Pete Engelmanis, heading into the Bosch Grand Prix of Phoenix next Monday night. Chris, what do you got to watch for at Phoenix?
Phoenix can get tight. I mean, it's a short track. We go from at a flat-out track to essentially a track where you got to be on the brakes going into corners, at least let off the gas, and you can bottleneck up going into one, and especially going into the dog leg. It can be really interesting, and that might get a bunch of people.
John Dragonetti, what's your key to Phoenix? Watching out for that strange transition off of 4 to the front straightaway. Bit a lot of people in the butt last season, and I hope we don't see the same thing, but it's definitely going to be something to watch out for. Last year, Eric Mickey outlasted the war of attrition and came home with the win at Phoenix. Do you guys see that possibly happening again?
Depends, really. I mean, this race was completely different than last year's Homestead race, so anything can happen. I mean, it's a whole new season. It's a little bit different of a setup. Cars handle a little bit differently, and just you can't really predict right now.
Yep, you got that right, and a lot of things, exciting moments happening here in CORT. And speaking of exciting, why don't we move on to the CORT National Cup Series after the break here?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds exciting. It's exciting. The thing about the CORT National Cup Series, it's new and it's exciting.
We'll see when we come back.
Yeah.
We will see when we come back to the CORT Report, CORTRacing.com. We'll be back.
Oh, do you really think it'll work? Ha, you just wait. Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I've been with a loose woman.
Freddie, is that you?
Yes, Father.
Who was she? Was it Tiffany from the post office?
I'm not gonna tell, Father.
Was it Brandy from the supermarket?
My lips are sealed.
Or Angie, the new teacher?
I'm not going to say.
So be it, my son. That's 40 Hail Marys for you, then.
So, how'd it go? I got 2 new leads.
Survival's all about keeping your cool. So whose antiperspirant will make them the last man standing? Step into the simulated Arctic environment. Cubby, at the Wolverines. New Everest from Degree has a fresh scent and twice the sweat-blocking power, which helps mask the smell of fear during Wolverine attacks on icy terrain. Still looks cool and dry.
Sure does, Bear.
Try New Everest from the Degree Adrenaline series.
Welcome back to the CORT Report, CORTRacing.com, and man, CORT National Cup Series, they had their whole qualifying day yesterday, hence why we are coming to the air on a Thursday instead of our usual Tuesday, and man, front row, Corey Stevens and Dakota Airman.
Definitely a strong front row, probably one of the best ones we've seen, at least in recent memory, in terms of restrictor plate racing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Corey Stevens spanked him in qualifying. It was awesome to see. I mean, this is his essentially first full season. Especially, I mean, I got to say, in these Gen 6 cars, it's an even playing field. Nobody really knows how it's going to be, and I think you're going to see some names pop up that you haven't seen.
Why don't we go ahead and run down the entire grid, brought to you by CORTRacing.com, your home for everything CORT. Corey Stevens and Dakota Airman are your front row, but the winners of the duels, Mike Husby and Alex Boffoli, are row number 2.
Husby, I didn't honestly see coming. I thought Chris was going to get it, but there was unfortunate, untimely caution in our duel, and Husby squeaked away with that one.
Well, honestly, I can say my plan, I could have blown Husby's doors off, but we worked so hard. We fell back to, I think in our last run, we fell back to 10th, 9th and 10th, and by the time we got up front and I got cleared, I was blinking both lights, and I had to drop, and I screamed at Husby. I told him to drop, and I had to let off. I think that's what kind of caused that, but if I stayed in it, Husby would have dropped like a rock, and I just couldn't do that to him.
Alex Boffoli won the second duel, and Alex had a really, really good run, was in the lead when the caution came out, our only caution of the event, when the middle part of the group finally broke, but for the 30 laps that we were running, it was anybody's race, and Alex and Dakota worked together and got to the front, and the two WesHicks.net designed cars hung on to the front end, or held on to the top end of the speedway, and were able to keep it up there, and were able to come home with the win. Row 3 sees two Chris Sweat racing cars, Chris Sweat and James Gutta.
Hell yeah, baby. The second, to go back to that, the second duel there is, I was watching from the pit box, and it was great to see. I'm very proud of the 17, the two teams. Happened in such a short notice. We got these cars together, and especially even my 33 team. These Fords were fast, and I heard they went from the back to the front, and then kind of fell back to kind of see what can happen, and then worked their way up, and I think they got together is what kind of caused that. But it's a shame for Steve. I know he really wanted, they really wanted to win that duel, and I think they had a really good shot at getting that as long as they stayed together. I mean, these two are probably some of the best super speedway racers I've ever seen and I've ever been a part of, and I'm just very fortunate to have them back on the team. And it's like I said before qualifying and stuff, this is the first time in, I believe 3 years that we've got the whole Chris Sweat racing train hooked up.
It's going to be an exciting race next Wednesday night for the CSR group. Greg Netherwood and David Amboys will form row 4. And Greg Netherwood comes from LNR, and David Amboys comes from CORT. As David Amboys says things about David Amboys, Bob Dole. It was a great run for Greg. He was in that first duel, and we think kind of jostled around there the last restart. Johnny Williams and Julian the Matador Mador form up row 5.
No, Williams on the inside in our duel, he actually ran in the back most of the race and just kind of kept quiet and waited for all the madness to go down, and when it counted, he actually jumped up there and struck.
Mm-hmm. John Dragonetti, oh no, I skipped a row. Cody McCorkle and Sean Brightsman.
like I said, Brightsman's one you gotta watch out for in these Gen 6 cars. I've run against him over at L&R, and he is a force, and I expected it, typical.
Yeah, Sean Brightsman will be running the CORTRacing.com colors. He had an unsponsored car for the JGM Duel 75s, and talked it over and found a way to get him some sponsorship for the big race next Wednesday night on TSTV. Yes, it will be broadcasted. Thanks to some great donations, we will be broadcasting the Daytona 250. John Dragonetti and Joseph Cervone make up row number 7.
Crapshoot. That's all I can say.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a crapshoot.
It is. I mean, I'm kind of fortunate to be starting up here with a teammate, so I know I've got somebody. But essentially, it's a crapshoot. It's Daytona.
And so you were lucky. I didn't have anybody, and I just kind of had to, float my way around.
I didn't have anybody in my 2 teammates are in the other duel just like you.
Yeah, but...
Where were you, John? Where were you? We should have teamed up. Where were you?
I was like in the front, and then I got effed over on a pit stop because I was dumb.
Well, I was in the back, and I came from the front. I came to the front.
Well, you
Step your
yelled.
game up. Step your game up.
Do you even lift?
Not really. I have to say though, I worked with Husby in practice for our duel, and we were rock solid. I knew from that point, like there was the restart. I knew Johnny was behind Mike, and I still hit Husby up, and I was like, "I'm gonna push." I asked him, "Do you want to win?" And he was like, "Well, of course." And I was like, "I'm pushing you." And there you go.
Are you sure he said of course, or okay?
Okay.
The Freebird and the Intimate Dater, Andrew Hayes and Steve Lovender, make up row 8.
The Freebird?
Yes,
What?
Andrew Freebird Hayes.
What?
That's new to me.
Freebird Hayes. I'm dubbing him that.
The Intimate Dater, aka Steve Lovender. I think he's. I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn team, even because I am. And my team's awesome, but Steve's just another one of those names. If he can get up and get in contention, you're gonna have to watch out for him.
Carson Abe and Steven Taylor, proof that the duels are good for some people. Carson Abe going to have a pretty decent starting spot on Wednesday.
He wasn't incredibly quick in qualifying, but yeah, the race definitely helped him a whole lot, I know, in terms of learning nonetheless. So I expect to see at least a decent result going into the race next Wednesday.
I know, I can even say the same thing. My qualifying lap was horrible. Like, I was like 23rd. But that's why I love the duels. I raced my way up to being 5th.
Kyle Young and Will Roberts will form row number 10.
Yeah, I know in ours, Kyle actually had some damage, and I think he was running up in the top 3 up until that last caution hit. But he was actually really strong in that race. It's a crapshoot, but I expect him, among others, to be up in the front, a good bit.
That's what really you can this draft with these cars. I mean, you can have some damage and still be up there and be in contention. It's one of the things I love about these Gen 6 cars.
Moving on to the second page of the grid. Yes, the second page, believe it or not. Matt Harrington and Patrick O'Toole. Now you're starting to get into the guys who had a little bit of hard luck in their duels.
It was that last incident, and even John can attest to this. Harrington was the leader, and I mean, I'm taking blame. I did check up just because I couldn't morally do it to Husby. And I pretty much triggered that whole junk and going into turn 3. I got plowed from behind by Harrington. Somehow managed to keep it straight. But it's just unfortunate.
Well, still, it's one of those, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of things. So, I mean, it's really not that. I mean, everyone probably goes through that.
This race.
It is, and like I said, I mean, I was about to blow up. I was actually blinking double lights in the middle of 1 and 2, but I was damned if I was going to let Husby fall back.
Row 12, we'll see Jesus Andrade, winner at Richmond last season, and the winner at New Hampshire in the training paint side, Tyler Tucker.
That's going to be a strong row to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Very underrated. Sean Burke was the last driver to actually attend on Wednesday. The rest of these names did not make it to duel day. They will be starting in the back. Sean Burke and Pete Ingamanis in row 13.
That's scary seeing Pete start back that far.
Well, yeah, you gotta think.
That's the product of not showing up for duel day. You will start 26, Peter.
I heard he was at the Blue Jays game, so...
Oh, no, he was watching.
Oh, trying to make it sound more like not like a loser. Just kidding, Pete.
Matt Trace and Tim Silliman, 14.
I don't know. Trace was working on the real life race car. I don't know where Tim was.
Tim had a softball game.
Softball guy.
He won though.
Guy. He did win his game. If you're curious to know. Morgan Murphy and Riley Roush. Riley's out in spring break. Morgan, I don't know where he is. That's row 15. And
we lost Morgan Murphy.
Morgan Pliss.
Again.
Morgan Pliss.
He's MIA.
And Matt Kingston rounded up the field. He will be starting shotgun in row 16.
Got a dig from back there. Get your shovel out.
It's a 100-lap race, and I just wanted to pose the question to you guys: are you guys a fan of this qualifying format with 2 races to set the inside and the outside rows? And would you like to see it out of the races?
Oh hell yeah! I think heat races are kind of cool. I mean, I'm for it because I went from being 23rd to 5th. It's fun to do.
Yeah, I think it's cool for the circumstances around what the race means and the prestige of it. I wouldn't really like to see it though in like any other kind of thing unless we did it for the All-Star race. But
I would like to see it for the Independence 500 later this season. Maybe a little bit of the same format, but with a intermediate track.
I think it'd be cool.
Would be an interesting thing to try.
Yeah, but we do have an off week before that, but that is slotted to be our opening week, or our All-Star race, I should say. Peter Gamanis can stop texting me any minute now. He is telling me dingers. I guess the Toronto Blue Jays are performing well tonight.
Or AJ Allmendinger's at the game.
Oh yeah, maybe AJ Allmendinger's at the game. You never know. So quickly, just want to touch on a couple housekeeping items. The CORT Trading Paints Championship Series thread for the Bosch Grand Prix of Phoenix is up. You guys go ahead and find that at the forums. Also, you can also find the thread for the Daytona 250, although it's of no use now because it is absolutely locked, closed. No one else can enter. That is the field.
Woo!
Yeah.
But a race that does have entries open, and you are welcome to place your entries at CORTRacing.com's forums, is the 4th annual Indianapolis 250. A very prestigious race, and we're already seeing some names come over and try and take a shot at winning in Indianapolis.
I'm excited. I have to actually enter myself in this race. Indianapolis, baby. There's not much more you can say.
Yeah, there's a lot of wide open entries there. I can already count one from the 703 group, one from the David Amboy Developments group, and one from the Fury Inc. group, and there's still a lot of teams who have yet to place an entry. So, very exciting to see if we will see a bunch of spot Indy starts. Also, we are strange twist of fate, opening it up. We will be accepting outside entries for this event with a limit of 3 cars per team at Indianapolis.
That's going to be interesting. Hopefully we got some practices because we'll probably get some names we haven't heard before.
Oh, there will be practices.
Speaking of the Trading Paint Series, I have some breaking news. We have finally, I don't know if everybody noticed this, at Homestead we were in an unmarked manufacturer. We did not have manufacturer support. But after how good the run went, I'm actually kind of proud to announce that I'll be running Toyota.
Oh,
we were getting Toyota Motors on there, the number 33 car. So I'm excited by that. We'll get a little bit more power. And I mean, I'm not going to name what the other manufacturer is because it was deemed illegal. Ran it, but I'm really excited to be working with Toyota.
Well, that's exciting. Toyota Racing Development coming on board with Chris Sweat Racing on the trading paint side. You heard it here first.
AKA Turd.
Hey, sir.
At least in the actual NASCAR Cup Series.
Hey, if we get a Toyota, I'm there yesterday.
Oh, definitely. I don't know if the whole Chris Sweat Racing organization would change. We might have some Ford support. We might have Toyota support, but I'll be running a Toyota.
Well, according to my Twitter, which has been blowing up in the iRacing circle lately.
2 months, maybe.
Yeah, 2 months, maybe. Who knows? Kind of, sort of. I saw there are 7 retweets, 5 favorites. Like, guys, please stop mentioning me. It's kind of weird. I shouldn't have posted about it.
Probably not.
So why don't we go ahead and head on out of here. Next time we come to you, we will be finishing. We will wrap up Phoenix, and we will get you your final preview for Daytona. Chris, what do you look forward to in the coming days?
Daytona, baby. I love Daytona. I'm pumped for this. We get a great starting position, great cars, great team. I can't get more excited for this.
John Dragonetti.
I want to try to make it 3 for 3 at restrictor plates.
That's right, you swept the restrictor plates last year. Almost forgot about that. That's a dark horse right there. Well, not really a dark horse. He's the favorite, I would say. And a lot of things happening here at CORT. So, you're all caught up on the latest news here at the Championship Online Racing Teams. I am your host, David Amboy. That has been Chris Sweat and John Dragonetti. We appreciate your listening, and we look forward to speaking to you next week. For all of us here at the CORT Report, so long, everybody.
Bye, have a great time.